turn our attention to, I guess, physiotherapy, but something that's really got our attention, of course, with the passing of Muhammad Ali. Everyone talking about his long battle with Parkinson's and what role did boxing play with his suffering from the disease. Now it turns out, though, folks using boxing to help treat people suffering from Parkinson's. Joining us in studio to talk more about it, the founder of NeuroFit, Naomi Casiro, joins us. Naomi, how are you tonight?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm great, and I got to be honest with you, the first thing I see, and I go, is that right? Like, did someone make a mistake? They're using boxing to treat Parkinson's? Fascinating. Tell me just a little bit about why is boxing good for someone suffering from Parkinson's?
Yeah, it seems a little bit counterintuitive with the passing of Muhammad Ali, and all that we tend to see in the news is a lot of people getting Parkinson's in part from boxing. So boxing that we do, the type of boxing that we do, is really a little bit different. It's non-contact, so we don't hit each other.
Right.
Number one.
That sounds like a good start. Okay.
But what it is it's boxing with a specific focus on targeting Parkinson's symptoms. So we do boxing moves, and we do a lot of boxing drills and things like that, and we do it in a way to target the issues that people with Parkinson's are living with. So some of the issues that they tend to have are slow movements. They get frozen, so they get kind of stuck in place. They get shuffling. They get postural issues. So boxing is a really great way to kind of create goal-directed movements. They're aiming and hitting gloves and heavy bags, and those movements can actually help to protect dopamine in the brain and use dopamine better to allow them to move better in their daily lives, which is really an incredible result of a fun activity that they get to do.
And I'm wondering about the reaction. We're talking with Naomi Casiro, a founder of NeuroFit and a physiotherapist. What's that like when you first tell someone and go, you know what, we're thinking boxing would be the way to go for you?
I think people are excited about it. I know that the people living with Parkinson's are really excited about it. It's a really fun activity, and we know for anyone doing exercise that if you're going to exercise and you're going to be told that you have to do it for life, you want it to be something that's fun and engaging, and boxing is just that. They have a really good time. They get a huge smile on their face when they get to punch out all their frustrations on the mitts, and it's a really good kind of fun activity for them to participate in, and I think other people really are surprised that it can help as much as it does.
And I'm wondering, is it the key? Because again, they talk about physical activity is so helpful in so many things, whether it's staying healthy. But when you're talking about Parkinson's, is physical activity of some kind critical in the treatment, I guess?
It's very, very critical. It's the only treatment that doesn't really come with negative side effects, which is a huge thing for this population. We know that the medications can be really helpful, but the more you take them over time, the worse the side effects tend to be. So exercise comes with no negative side effects, which is fabulous, and it really is critical. It's critical to protecting the neurotransmitters in the brain that these clients are losing, and it's integral to managing their motor symptoms so they can actually live better on a day-to-day basis.
Is the discovery that boxing was helpful, is that new for this? Like, when did you come across going, because I'm sure you're looking for different things, you're always staying up on different treatments, that'd be part of your ongoing education, I would think.
Yeah, so there's been a big wave of research in exercise in Parkinson's recently, and so they're kind of trying out a whole bunch of different types of exercise to see what the results are. There were some big studies that were done in 2011 and 2013 on boxing and exercise that showed very, very good results. So that's kind of when the wave started to hit. Like I said, there's lots of other types of exercise that are also really fantastic for this population, as long as they're kind of focused and the programs are given in a specific way to target their symptoms. But boxing is new, but it's been coming along for the past few years. The wave is starting to hit now.
We're talking with Naomi Casiro, a founder of NeuroFit and a physiotherapist. We all think, what are the symptoms in the sense of, like, I think when you think of Muhammad Ali, you think of the shaking. Mm-hmm. And they always used to say, his mind is still as quick as ever, but it's his body that's letting him down. Is shaking one of the first, and maybe there's a technical term for that, and I apologize.
That's okay. So tremor is one of the 4 kind of cardinal symptoms of Parkinson's. Some people get tremor and some don't. Not everyone with Parkinson's has it, but the major symptoms that people tend to get are they get a tremor sometimes, they get postural instability, which means that they fall very, very easily. One of the really key symptoms that everyone with Parkinson's has is slowness of movement. So things slow down, and they're right when they say that often the mind is there, but the body is starting to kind of give out. It's not listening, it's not connecting to the mind as well. Those signals aren't getting through properly.
And you had mentioned just earlier when you were talking about going through the effort when you're boxing, and it was a dopamine you had mentioned. So again, that gets released through the physical activity, and what does that do when it gets released?
So Parkinson's disease, among other things, is a lack of dopamine. So when people are diagnosed, they've already tend to have lost about 60 to 80% of the dopamine on one side of their brain, and that makes movement very challenging. So when you create these big goal-directed movements, you can protect that dopamine they have left. So if they have 20% dopamine left, we want to protect as much of that as we can, and that's where mitigating disease progression comes in. But also we can actually use the dopamine that they have more effectively. So we can make it stay in the synapses longer, we can help it move better and function more optimally, which means that they can actually get these bigger movements when they stop exercising.
Is it key to exercise heavy for a short period of time, or is it a constant? Is it better to go, what do they always talk about? Is it weight or reps, I guess, in a different sense? Is it about going hard for a short period of time or just over a long period of time?
So the research varies. There's some studies that have shown that forced exercise, so high-intensity exercise, has been really effective. They did it in cycling. They did tandem cycling and forced people to cycle faster than they would have so chosen if they were doing it themselves. Right. And they found that there were some really positive results in that. They've also shown that aerobic activity can be very effective as well. With my patients, what I've seen is that it's really about how you create the programs, right? Targeting the symptoms that are specific to them, because not everyone has the same Parkinson's symptoms. You can vary the type of exercise, but by getting them to do things that they can't or don't do in their daily lives, bigger movements than they would normally do, faster movements they would normally do, it really starts to create changes in the brain and new neuroplastic pathways that can help them move better. We call it exercise for brain change.
Oh, that's excellent. And again, because you're dealing with people that are older too. In the most cases, it's seniors. You have to be watchful of that, I guess, with physical activity also, obviously.
Yeah, and that's why, we assess everyone carefully before they come into our programs, and we make sure it's appropriate for them. But I think because you see the slowness of movement, sometimes this population is underestimated as well. Once you get them moving and boxing and doing these big movements, they actually leave looking quite a bit better often than when they came in. Before
we run out of time, what do some of your patients tell you after like a little bit of time with boxing?
So you can see it by their faces, actually. One of the big things with Parkinson's that people often get is mask face. So they don't get a lot of emotion on their face. And so often I see people start hitting the gloves and they get these huge beaming smiles, and that, itself speaks for what it's doing to their brains and what it's creating in their activity. And they love it. I get a lot of positive feedback. They have a lot of fun. They feel better. I've had people, walking better. They couldn't roll over in bed, and now they can roll over in bed. They couldn't get up from the floor. Now they can get up from the floor. If you saw the evening segment that they did on the news, one of the patients was saying, they get to feel normal for a small period of time when they're in the, boxing with the gloves and the bags. They get to feel normal, which is huge.
Before I let you go, Naomi, where can folks find out about NeuroFit?
Yeah, so they can go to our website. It's www.neurofitbc.com, and they can check out all our information there. We're, like I said, running classes in Vancouver and starting our North Vancouver and Burnaby classes soon. So I encourage them to check us out and find somebody who can give them a Parkinson-specific exercise program.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time tonight. Naomi Casero, founder of NeuroFit, and again, a physiotherapist, just talking about using boxing to treat Parkinson's.